I am Ahmed Duncan, founder of the Fabulous Woman Network. Before 2015, I was that broke girl who was stuck in her own limiting belief of not enoughness. Marianne Williamson's words, "You are a child of God," woke me up. And then I sought help to work on myself. I still invest heavily in my personal development, and so much has changed for me in the most incredible ways. My burning desire is to see an Africa in which women are empowered to thrive and impact people. I am a trainer, coach, author, social entrepreneur, and an event organizer who is passionate about helping others on their own personal development journey so that together we can all thrive as fabulous children of God. Mind Your Business is our weekly podcast which is free on YouTube. Here we share enriching content to help us all thrive as fabulous children of God. And if you prefer to work with me one-on-one, please go to my website, amaduncan.com/store to book a discovery call with. Today's episode of Mind Your Business is coming to you all the way from Nairobi, Kenya, where I have been on a fabulous conference for women in business. I've entitled it, Find Joy in Spite of. Find Joy in Spite of. Question: have you ever felt so weighed down by something you really wanted to do, or you're waiting to do, or waiting to have, so much so that you couldn't even find joy in spite of? Let me tell you something that happened to me a few years ago when I had just started. I was about 2 or 3 years into my business. I had this amazing contract. At the time, it was the biggest contract I had had. And it was going well initially until after some point, the client started stalling. Now, a contract that we had agreed was supposed to take a few months was dragging into more months, way more months, into years. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? We couldn't move because, like we say, or my husband sometimes says to me, they kept changing the goalposts. So we think it's here, we go, no, it's not there, let's change it. It was just dragging. And at a point, the team, we were just frustrated. We didn't know what to do because the clients just kept changing their minds about what they wanted. And meanwhile, this thing was weighing me down. There were things I wanted to do. I remember one of the things at the time I really wanted to do was to create an online course. I had the idea in my head of what I wanted to create. And, everything was almost ready. I just needed to sit down and create it. But I kept thinking, oh, you know what? I have this other unfinished business. Let me just wait. Let me finish everything with this client before I create it. Meanwhile, through no fault of ours, the project was not moving because the client wanted something else every different time, and we were not just clear of how things were going. This dragged on for months into maybe a year and a half. One day, you know what? I think that, yes, what happened was COVID had just happened. I had just returned from a trip, and while on the trip, on my way back, I kept thinking that, you know what? I cannot let this particular contract keep weighing me down. There are things I really want to do. There are things that when I think about, I get so excited. I cannot keep on waiting on something that is dragging through no fault of mine. I am going to start creating this online course. So I remember returning to Ghana, and then I started, we had the COVID break and everything, and I started working on these online courses. I didn't create only one. I created 2, 3, and some other online programs. All because I made up my mind that, you know what, the thing that is holding me back, I'm going to let it just be, or like the Bible says, I'm going to cast it onto God, and then I'll just go free. I freed myself from this bed, and I just gave everything to God, and then just decided to focus. And I was able to have a fantastic time creating online programs, masterminds, and I had so many wonderful experiences as a coach. Now, a few days ago, this experience came to mind because I started reflecting on some other similar experiences I've had after this particular first contract, which stalled, I was thinking about some other unfinished business. So on my laptop, I have a list of unfinished business. Some of them, unfinished businesses, some of them have been dragging for months into years. Because some of them require me to get information from sometimes some institutions or some individuals, and it takes a while and it's quite frustrating. And yet they are weighing me down. I remember in my mastermind group, the one with my peers, there's this joke where they laugh at me that, oh, finally Amma has entered another year. Because I remember, was it when 2022 began? I said, oh, I'm not in 2022 yet. I am still in 2021 because there are some unfinished businesses I have to deal with. So I always had this mindset that, okay, until I finish with that business that is dragging and weighing me down, I really can't find joy in other things. That's what I used to do to myself. And then at a point, I was like, no. So you see, I have another list. I have all these different lists of amazing things. One of my lists on my phone is called my sabbatical list. This is the list of things I desire to do. And I call it sabbatical because I'm thinking, oh, when I get some 1 year sabbatical or 3 months or 2 months or 2 weeks, I will, start working on these things. So some of the things on my sabbatical list include travel and other things. But also on that list, I have things like improving my garden. So I have this beautiful idea of some vegetable farm and how I would improve it. I have it already, but I have this idea of how I would really want it to look, and it will take time. I also have this long list of arts and crafts, DIY activities that I really want to do. But I keep postponing them because, I still have that unfinished business and that other unfinished business, and it's weighing me down. So I can't really sit down and find my joy. And I thought, at some point, I thought, no, I cannot continue doing this to myself. I mean, what if Jesus comes tomorrow and I haven't done all these fabulous things on my list? So you know what? I started sneaking into my day moments where I find my joy, where I do something that is for me and it happies me. Sometimes that thing could just be sleeping. Yes, I enjoy my sleep. Someone said, oh, you don't look like someone who sleeps. I sleep a lot. I spend a lot of time sleeping. Probably that's why I have good energy. And then other things like gardening. So these days, some of the things I do is, let's say, in the middle of the day, or sometimes in the mornings after my morning walk, I'll just spend some time on a small portion of the garden, just removing weeds and trimming. What's the word? That thing they do to plants, not trimming, but you know what I mean. Doing all these things, just little things. And I find that these things give me so much joy when I'm spending time with the plants. My daughter says I love my plants more than my family. Funny. Of course not, but I really enjoy spending time alone with the plants, or sometimes I'm watering them and I'm plugged into one of my favorite books like Louise Hay or something, and I'm just listening. I'm so happy. And I found that these moments of joy, they refuel me, they recharge me, they keep me looking fresh and fabulous. And nothing beats that. And so, yes, that unfinished business is still waiting, but in spite of that, I am finding my joy. So I'm no more postponing my joy, waiting to finish, waiting for everything to be perfect before that thing I want to do, I go do it. I sneak in my moments of joy, and I love it. Sometimes that moment of joy could just be watching this series I watch on Netflix. It's the same series. I watch it over and over again because I just love it. It's a home decor something. I forgot the name, but I just love it. And it gives me so much joy seeing beautiful things, and I feel like I'm attracting all the beauty I want in my life. When I'm watching it, I'm in a different space, and I find so much joy. And some of these things I do alone. Well, sometimes too with friends or family. And so as I've been reflecting on this, I've realized that actually it pays to find your moments of joy in spite of the wait, in spite of something you're waiting on God to do for you, or somebody to give you, or I don't know what it is you're waiting for, but please, I want to encourage you to find that joy, find those moments of joy. Maybe it's not a 2-week vacation you can get, but if it's 1 hour in a day, what can you do for yourself to recharge? Even if it's 5 minutes, is it meditation? Is it whatever? Listen to your favorite music, something. What this does is it refuels you, and it also shows you how much you love yourself, because you're actually doing something for you and not for everyone else, but you're taking care of you. And so I just want to encourage you, don't be like the old Amma, or the Amma who still sometimes wants to come and I stop it. That will say, oh, let me wait. When I get X, then I do Y. Every time, let me wait. And some of us, we just keep waiting and waiting and waiting. And by the time you realize you are 98, you're still waiting. Hey, how is that even possible? So please, my ladies, my gentlemen watching this or listening, please find joy in spite of. Don't keep postponing your joy all in the name of, oh, I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for the husband. I'm waiting for the child. I'm waiting for the PhD before. You know yourself. You know whatever it is. That thing you are waiting for, in due time, it will come to you with ease. Meanwhile, please find your joy in spite of the wait. So this is me signing out. I'm going to check out 1 or 2 things in Nairobi before I return tomorrow. Until I come your way again, it's Ta Toodles. Bye. Find joy.